With Pat Gelsinger firmly at the reins of Intel, there was a ton of news, both up and down, from the chip-making giant. The rundown was there for all of it, from the spin-out of the SSD business with SK Hynix to Solidigm, to the end of the Optane business and the announcement of new fabs in Germany, advanced process nodes, and third-party manufacturing. But unfortunately, the biggest news was negative, with the extended delay of Sapphire Rapids and other products, and news of cost cuts and job losses later in the year. Let's kind of look back at the year for Intel and the ups and the downs there. As I mentioned, everything started off in January with the announcement that Intel was going to sell their SSD business, and that led to the creation of an entirely new company called Solidigm, which brought in the assets of Intel's SSDs and flash memory, as well as SK Hynix. Since then, Solidigm has really ramped up and done quite well with themselves. But of course, the news about the flash memory side of things led to some questions about what Intel was going to do with their other memory slash storage product, Optane. And news wasn't always good. Back in March, we got a lot of rumors that Intel was going to be canceling Optane. And this was continued. There was a continual talk about this until something really big happened in August. And that is that Intel announced, as kind of a footnote in a financial filing, that they're going to be closing the entire Optane business unit and taking a impairment against that. Of course, everybody immediately freaked out because Optane was a major differentiator for Intel's third generation Xeon platform, and people were looking for it as a big differentiator for Sapphire Rapids as well, which was expected to be announced pretty soon. Now, the cancellation of the Optane group, the Optane development, didn't mean the end of the Optane products, though. And in fact, we are hearing that Intel is continuing to release planned Optane products. In fact, they might have just released an Optane SSD as you hear this. And I think that we're going to see a next generation Optane persistent memory launch with Sapphire Rapids as well. But I think the writing's pretty well on the wall that Optane's not going any further than this. This all leads to a lot of questions about Intel. And frankly, the questions were not alleviated when it was revealed that the Sapphire Rapids would be delayed even further. Intel was supposed to be first to market for the fourth generation server platforms with Sapphire Rapids. They were going to have HPC products as well for supercomputing. And those products did show up at supercomputing, but Sapphire Rapids is still not announced as of press time, and AMD managed to launch their fourth generation platform ahead of Intel. What this means is that AMD supports CXL and Intel doesn't yet. A lot of negative news coming out as well about job cuts and cost cuts and negatives from the financial space. Overall, what I would say is this is a big year of retrenchment. Pat Gelsinger is clearly taking firm control of the company. They're shaking things up. They're cutting products that they don't want to be invested in. They're doing an IPO for Mobileye, for example. All of these things are basically on the table. And although it doesn't look good in 2022 for Intel, I think that all of these moves are actually going to lead to a healthier company going forward. So I'm going to go on record here and say that 2023 is going to look a little bit rocky for Intel, but I bet we're going to have some better news from the company later in 2023 and into 2024 when all of these changes that Pat Gelsinger has made, including the construction of new fabs and the development of new process nodes and the third-party fab business, when all of those things start really kicking in, I think Intel's maybe kind of at the bottom here.